Should you stay or should you go? Is it time to quit? Well, I can't definitively answer that question for you, but I'm going to give you three different ways to think about your employment situation that will help you make the decision. My name is Ben. I'm an employment professional, which means I help employees and employers try to make work better. So, because work is such a big part of our lives, it's complicated, it affects other people around us, and often it's the result of years of investment in a particular track or job trajectory, and we don't want to quit something like that so easily. So I'm going to give you three different scenarios that you might be in to help you decide in either of these cases if quitting or moving on, or what might be the best way to address your pain point at work. So the first scenario is you have one really specific, it might be somewhat minor, it could be significant pain point in your job. And often in this case, I will give people the advice that I wouldn't strongly consider leaving until you make a strong push to resolve this pain point. And sometimes it's in your control, and sometimes it's less controllable. But if you haven't explored every avenue, if you haven't spoken to your direct supervisor about the situation, it could be a number of things too. It could be I really want to work 100% remotely. I would like more money or a specific benefit to change. I'm having a conflict with a colleague. The agreement or some decision that was made just isn't working out, or we're not following through on it, and I want to make sure that that happens. Any number of pain points could be causing you to consider quitting your job. But if outside of this one specific situation you are satisfied and you're in a favorable position at work, don't think about leaving until you really, really push hard to resolve the situation that you're in. There are a lot of different approaches to address your employer. I have some other videos that I will link to about that. But all in all, don't give up on your position over one situation that could have a compromise or a resolution that's favorable to you. The second category of decision is just someone who's ready to move on, and there might be a number of reasons, a number of pain points that you have that are causing you to want to leave work. I just want to caution you that, right now might not be the best time to do that for a number of reasons. And I've created a tool. It's called the Stay or Go Job Decision Worksheet. It's free. You can get it at benscoda.com, and I'll link to it below. But what this worksheet does is just really lay out all the potential implications of leaving your job. And a lot of these are things that we don't always consider when we're just feeling really frustrated or burnt out, or wanting a change to happen quickly and badly. But there are a lot of different ways to think about what your life might be like after a resignation. There are financial implications, there are professional implications, your career path, there are mental and emotional implications that sometimes loom large, way larger than we would anticipate. There are social implications, interpersonal implications, and logistical ones, just some of the basics, like I have my phone or my computer is owned by my company, and if I leave, how will I search for a job? Or uh, I'll have to find a new doctor, or there are a lot of changes that come that we don't always think through when we're feeling like we're just ready to move on. So sometimes, yes, quitting your job ultimately might be the route that you take. But before you do that, I always recommend sitting down, thinking through, talking with a trusted partner or a spouse or a friend, a loved one, about what that change, what that transition might look like, what you're ready for, what you might not be ready for, or even hey, you know what? I do kind of feel like I want to leave, but maybe this isn't the right time. So I'm going to start planning for a future transition. And in doing so, you'll set yourself up well, and give yourself some satiation, or pacify those strong feelings of wanting to get out of there, knowing that that will happen eventually. But before, let's get our ducks in a row, or consider all the options, and be in a better place ultimately when you might leave. So the third bucket is someone who maybe really is in a position where it's time to plan your exit strategy and move on. And I almost never recommend that you decide to quit today and walk into your office, or call your boss tomorrow and resign. There are some steps, there are questions to ask yourself, and some things to think about. But ultimately, this might be a good time for you to start planning to leave. And some scenarios that really lend well to that are, you could be in like a really manipulative, or borderline abusive, or actually abusive environment at work. And I know people who have been in these situations, and you are not doing yourself any favors, even if you have some questions about what's next, by sticking around. It's not healthy. It's not helpful. You might just need to leave if that's your situation. um, you might be in a scenario where you are burned out. You've been pushing really hard, or you're overworked, and you've been in that place for a really long time with no relief. And regardless of what your employer might tell you, or the promises that they make about it, so it's going to slow down, or it's going to get easier, or we're going to hire somebody, or whatever, um, often it's just a carrot dangling on a stick that you're never going to catch up with. And those are empty promises. If you are burning the candle at both ends for a long time, and you just can't do it anymore, there's got to be a better situation. And again, you want to be strategic about it, but it might be time for this position to be wrapped up for you, and move on to something else. Another situation is, if you've been considering uh, a change, or maybe going off and trying to work for yourself in some way, shape, or form. um, there has never been a better time to uh, you know get online, connect with people, find resources, join communities, cohorts, get coaching to help you kind of move into a new place. So there might be nothing terrible happening at work for you right now, but you've just kind of felt that unsettled feeling inside, or something you've been thinking about for a while. And you know regardless of your situation, but specifically, if you really do feel like it's time to leave, this is what I want to tell you. So there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot of anxiety that many of us are feeling. There's a lot of fear that is bubbling up for people for many different reasons, and often a few different reasons layered on top of one another. Work is not what it once was. There was a time in history in our world where you had to get up and you had to go find food, or you weren't going to make it through the day, or you had to defend yourself against a specific physical threat, and that was part of what your work day consisted of. Long time ago, in another civilization or society, we are reacting often to fear and anxiety about work. Your body and your brain will often react as if there is a danger or a physical threat to you, and there often is not. You can leave your job and make it work and find another way. There are other forms of income besides the one that you have right now. There are so many different options and opportunities, and more every day. And being afraid to leave a job is something that we're conditioned for in this culture. But is there a realistic possibility that you're going to be on the street or not be able to put food on the table, in a couple months? It's really unlikely, and I just like to preface some of these considerations and conversations about leaving work, and remind people to take a breath, look at what you have, and be grateful for that. And if staying at your job is the right thing for you to do right now, figure out a way to make it work, and adjust your expectations and have some good healthy conversations with people you trust. And if it's time to leave, you could probably make it happen. And people do it all the time, and I'm doing it, and I've seen other people do it. So, betting on yourself is a safer and safer bet every day, regardless of the situation you're in. Think it through, talk it through, and be strategic. I have a tool specifically designed for that, the Stay or Go Job Decision Worksheet. I'd encourage you to download it. Like I said, I'll link to it below, and you can find that and some other free tools at benscoda.com. I really enjoy helping people walk through these conversations. I've done it so many times for myself and for others, and it's complicated, but there's an answer. So I'm going to encourage you to take some time and do the work and figure out what's right for you. I'll be here over and over again if you need me. Best of luck, and we'll see you next time.